Shawn Michaels, the man, the myth, the legend, and the controversy. From D-Generation X to accusations of misconduct, this is a no-holds-barred look at the Heartbreak Kid's career. You have to watch this. He was a four-time world champion, a two-time Royal Rumble winner, and WWE's first Grand Slam champion. Shawn headlined WrestleMania 5 times and co-founded D-Generation X, only to get famous for being part of groundbreaking matches like the first Hell in a Cell and ladder match. He is the man. Whether you know him as the Heartbreak Kid or simply one of the greatest performers in WWE history, his career was full of unforgettable moments, and not all of them were for the right reasons. Shawn Michaels had the kind of talent that made him a star, but he also had his fair share of controversies that shaped how people viewed him. Let's start with one of the most talked about incidents in wrestling history, the Montreal screwjob in 1997. If you've been a wrestling fan for any amount of time, you've probably heard about it. Bret Hart was the WWF champion at the time and was about to leave for WCW. Vince McMahon, the owner of WWF, wanted Bret to lose the championship to Shawn Michaels before he left. The problem? Bret refused to lose the title to Shawn in his home country of Canada, especially since there was real-life tension between the two. What ended up happening shocked everyone. Vince McMahon secretly worked with Shawn Michaels and the referee, Earl Hebner, to end the match early. During the match, Shawn put Bret in his own move, the sharpshooter, and even though Bret didn't tap out, the referee called for the bell, making it look like Shawn won. Bret was furious. You've probably seen the footage of Bret spitting in Vince's face and trashing monitors at ringside. This wasn't just a storyline, this was real, and it rocked the wrestling world. Fans were outraged and Bret left WWF feeling betrayed. Shawn Michaels leaned into the villain role, and the incident became one of the most infamous moments in wrestling history. Even now, decades later, people still debate whether what Vince and Shawn did was right or wrong. It brought up a lot of questions about trust and ethics in wrestling and blurred the line between what's real and what's scripted. Another big part of Shawn Michaels' career was the influence he had backstage, especially as part of a group known as the Clique. Shawn was close friends with wrestlers like Triple H, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Sean Waltman. Together, they were known for having a lot of power behind the scenes in WWF. This wasn't just about being popular wrestlers. People accused the Clique of using their influence to push themselves and their friends into top spots while holding others back. One incident that really upset fans and wrestlers alike was what's now called the curtain call. This happened in 1996 at Madison Square Garden. After a match, the Clique members hugged each other in the ring, even though their characters were supposed to be rivals on TV. For fans, it broke the illusion of wrestling being real, and for other wrestlers, it was seen as disrespectful to the business. At the time, breaking kayfabe, the wrestling term for keeping the storylines believable, was a big no-no, and it left a lot of people angry. Shawn also had a reputation for being difficult to work with. His on-screen persona, the Heartbreak Kid, was flashy, cocky, and confident, but behind the scenes, many wrestlers felt that same attitude carried over into real life. Shawn had publicized feuds with big names like Bret Hart, The Undertaker, and even The Rock. He was known for speaking his mind and standing his ground, even if it caused problems with others. One famous incident people still talk about happened in 1997. Shawn suddenly announced he was forfeiting the WWF Championship, saying he had a knee injury and that he had lost his smile. A lot of fans and wrestlers believed this was just an excuse to avoid losing the title to Bret Hart in the ring. Whether or not that's true, the moment became another piece of Shawn's controversial reputation. But it wasn't just his attitude that caused problems. Shawn struggled with personal issues too, especially during the 1990s. He's been open about his battle with drug addiction, particularly painkillers. Wrestling is tough on the body, and Shawn turned to drugs to deal with the physical pain, but it eventually affected his behavior and his career. In 1998, he suffered a serious back injury that forced him into retirement, and during that time, his drug use reportedly got worse. Thankfully, that wasn't the end of his story. Shawn eventually found faith, overcame his addiction, and turned his life around. When he made his WWE comeback in 2002, he was a different person. He worked hard to rebuild his reputation, and fans saw a more humble and grateful side of Shawn Michaels. His redemption story became just as memorable as his earlier controversies, proving that even someone with a troubled past can make a fresh start. Of course, not everything in Shawn's career was resolved so cleanly. Over the years, he's been connected to other allegations, including accusations of misconduct. One of these allegations came up during the infamous plane ride from hell in 2002, a chaotic flight that's become legendary for the bad behavior of several wrestlers. A fellow wrestler, Brutus Beefcake, claimed that Shawn and his former tag team partner, Marty Jannetty, engaged in inappropriate behavior toward women on that flight. Shawn has denied these allegations, saying that while he's made mistakes in his past, he's never crossed certain lines. This kind of controversy reflects a larger larger conversation about accountability in wrestling. As fans and the industry take a closer look at past behavior, more stories like this are coming to light. It's a reminder that even beloved figures like Shawn Michaels aren't immune to criticism or scrutiny. Looking back at Shawn's career, it's clear that he was a complicated figure. He wasn't just a brilliant wrestler. He was someone who made mistakes, burned bridges, and faced serious challenges, both personally and professionally. But at the same time, he showed that people can change. His redemption and the way he's worked to repair relationships and take responsibility for his past mistakes are part of what makes his story so compelling. Today, Shawn Michaels is remembered as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Fans still talk about his incredible matches, his unforgettable moments, and yes, his controversies. But more importantly, his story shows that no matter how messy things get, it's possible to grow, make amends, and leave behind a lasting legacy. His legacy is iconic, and for the real ones, here is an actual rundown of his career, minus the controversies. Born Michael Shawn Hickenbottom on July 22, 1965, in Chandler, Arizona, Shawn grew up in a military family. Like many military kids, he moved around a lot, even spending some of his early years in England. But Texas was where he truly grew up. From a young age, Shawn showed he had a natural talent for performance in sports. He loved entertaining people, and by the time he was 12, he knew exactly what he wanted to be, a professional wrestler. He even put on a wrestling routine at his school talent show, complete with fake blood, showing off his flair for the dramatic. Shawn was also a talented athlete. He started playing football at just 6 years old and eventually became a standout linebacker in high school, even serving as team captain. But despite his skills on the field, wrestling was his true passion. After attending college briefly, Shawn decided to pursue wrestling full-time. He trained under the legendary Jose Lothario, a mentor who would shape the early years of his career. It wasn't long before Shawn started making waves in smaller wrestling promotions. He debuted in 1984 and quickly impressed fans and veterans alike with his athleticism and charisma. Shawn's first big break came when he teamed up with Marty Jannetty in the American Wrestling Association, AWA. Together, they became the Midnight Rockers, a dynamic and energetic tag team that thrilled audiences. They even captured the AWA World Tag Team Championship. Their success caught the attention of the WWF, now WWE, and in 1988, the duo joined the company as simply the Rockers. Shawn and Marty became fan favorites, known for their high-flying moves and undeniable chemistry in the ring. But as exciting as the Rockers were, Shawn's destiny was to become a singles star. That moment came in 1992 during a now-famous segment on Brutus Beefcake's barbershop talk show. In a shocking twist, Shawn turned on Marty, delivering a super kick that sent him crashing through a glass window. It was a defining moment that not only ended the Rockers, but launched Shawn's solo career. From then on, he was known as the Heartbreak Kid, a cocky, flamboyant villain who loved the spotlight. As a singles competitor, Shawn quickly rose through the ranks. With his flashy outfits, incredible athleticism, and undeniable charisma, he became a wrestler fans loved to hate, or just plain loved. He aligned himself with manager Sensational Sherry, who even sang the first version of his now iconic theme song, Sexy Boy. Shawn's matches became must-see events, and he began to steal the show at every opportunity. One of his early career highlights was his ladder match against Razor Ramon at WrestleMania X in 1994. That match wasn't just a battle for the Intercontinental Championship, it was a groundbreaking performance that redefined what wrestling could be. By the mid-90s, Shawn was a main event superstar. He won his first WWF Championship at WrestleMania 20 in 1996 after an epic 60-minute Iron Man match against Bret Hart. It was a match that showcased not just Shawn's physical abilities, but his storytelling prowess. This victory solidified his status as a top-tier wrestler and earned him the nickname Mr. WrestleMania. Fans knew that whenever Shawn was on the card, they were in for something special. Around this time, Shawn also helped form one of the most influential groups in wrestling history, D-Generation X, DX. Alongside Triple H, Chyna, and Rick Rude, Shawn led DX in pushing the boundaries of what wrestling could be. They were rebellious, edgy, and unapologetic, often blurring the lines between entertainment and controversy. DX wasn't just a wrestling stable, it was a cultural phenomenon that left a lasting impact on the industry. Shawn's career, however, wasn't without its challenges. In 1998, he suffered a severe back injury that many thought would end his time in the ring for good. For a while, it did. Shawn stepped away from wrestling, taking on non-wrestling roles in WWE and focusing on his personal life. This was a difficult period for him, but it also marked the beginning of a personal transformation. Shawn found faith, overcame personal struggles, and eventually made a miraculous return to wrestling in 2002. His comeback was nothing short of extraordinary. Fans were thrilled to see Shawn back in action, and he quickly reminded everyone everyone why he was one of the greatest of all time. During this second phase of his career, Shawn delivered some of his best work, including unforgettable matches against Triple H, John Cena, and The Undertaker. His ability to tell a story in the ring and connect with the audience was unmatched. It was during this time that Shawn truly earned his reputation as Mr. WrestleMania. In 2010, after an incredible career spanning decades, Shawn retired from in-ring competition. His final match, a WrestleMania showdown with The Undertaker, was a fitting end to a legendary career. Although he returned for a one-off match in 2018, Shawn has largely stayed true to his retirement promise. These days, he's focused on helping the next generation of wrestlers. As the Senior Vice President of Talent Development for WWE, Shawn oversees the creative direction of NXT, WWE's developmental brand. His influence on the industry continues, not just as a performer, but as a mentor and leader. Shawn Michaels' legacy in the world of professional wrestling is unparalleled. He's more than just a superstar, he's a benchmark for excellence. When people talk about Shawn, they don't just remember his championships or iconic matches. They talk about the way he changed the game. Shawn wasn't the biggest wrestler in the locker room, but he showed the world that heart, skill, and storytelling could elevate you to the top. His ability to create drama and tell a compelling story inside the ring made him a pioneer. He didn't just wrestle, he performed, and in doing so, he redefined what it meant to be a WWE superstar. Shawn was instrumental in shaping the modern style of professional wrestling. His matches combined athleticism, creativity, and raw emotion in ways that had rarely been seen before. Fans knew that whether he was opening the show, wrestling mid-card, or main eventing WrestleMania, Shawn was going to deliver a performance that people would be talking about for years. And it wasn't just the fans he inspired. Generations of wrestlers grew up idolizing Shawn Michaels. His influence can be seen in countless wrestlers today who credit him as the reason they entered the business. But perhaps the most remarkable part of Shawn's legacy is his personal growth. He was known for his brash personality and rebellious attitude during his early career, which earned him as many critics backstage as he had fans in the audience. Yet over time, Shawn reinvented himself, not just as a performer, but as a person. His later career is marked by his commitment to mentoring younger talent and giving back to the business that made him a star. Shawn's work with NXT shows his dedication to ensuring the future of wrestling is in good hands. His fingerprints are all over the incredible talent emerging in WWE today, further solidifying his place as one of the most influential figures in wrestling history. Beyond the ring, Shawn's impact extends to fans around the world who were inspired by his journey. His story is one of resilience, overcoming injuries, personal struggles, and doubts to come back stronger than ever. He's living proof that it's never too late to turn things around and leave a positive mark. That's what makes Shawn Michaels more than just a wrestler. He's a legend. And that's a wrap on the story of Shawn Michaels, one of the greatest to ever step into the ring. Whether you're a lifelong fan or just discovering his incredible journey, it's clear that Shawn's impact on wrestling is everlasting. From the Heartbreak Kid to Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels has given us decades of unforgettable moments. Before you go, let us know in the comments, what's your favorite Shawn Michaels match or moment? Was it the ladder match at WrestleMania X, his Iron Man match with Bret Hart, or maybe his epic battles with The Undertaker? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss a deep dive into the stories of wrestling's greatest icons. Thanks for hanging out with us today, and we'll see you in the next video. Stay awesome.